Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Still Talking Podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Smith. With me, as always, my co-host, Max Harris, Burn Smith.
You know why we here.
I hope you guys are doing all right, man. Coming at you with another weekly episode of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So today, I wanted to cover, it's something I've been wanting to cover for a minute, is the Abducted in Plain Sight documentary.
It's just such a weird thing that you wanted to talk about, but it is fucking insane.
Yeah.
It's not the craziest fucking story. Like, I literally was shook. Like, the whole time, like, every 20 minutes, you're like, what?
It just makes me want to fucking throttle them. I just,
Yeah.
like, I don't want, like, it's, dude. I don't know. The whole fucking...
We'll get into that. We're going to cover the whole time. Yeah, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Abducted in Plain Sight, you probably...
It's fucking nerve-wracking.
I'm going to put in the time code after this, like right after this little section, to tell you where you need to skip to, get past this part. Okay. If you haven't heard of it, it's a documentary on Netflix, and it's probably, I don't know if it's anywhere
you don't even,
it's
there's a whole bunch of, there's people who have done reports. I don't know about, like, a video documentary, but, if you Google it, there's a lot of people that have talked about it, like, written articles, and went and done interviews with the family and stuff.
The Netflix documentary was the one that I watched. It was fucking, like, 2 hours, dude.
I watched that, and then I read some of the articles and stuff, and they're just...
It'll blow you away, because it's almost like everything that happens in that story... You almost feel like it's impossible. You're like, there's no way.
It's happening.
Yeah. You're like, there's no way. You're like, come on.
It's not even as uncommon as you think it is either. Yeah. That's what's really sad.
It takes place in 1972 in Pocatello, Idaho. The guy's name is Robert Berchtold. He's got a wife and 2 daughters, and they moved. Idaho is like they were Latter-day Saints. They were Mormons. That's Latter-day Saints are Mormons.
Just organized religion. They're all crazy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. Shocker. Some Mormons went crazy.
Yeah.
Like the least crazy religious group. We're talking shit about them.
Mormons, yeah, exactly. Like, honestly, they're just gonna show up at your door.
The nicest and most well-behaved.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, get the fuck out of here. Okay. Yes, sir.
Baptists will bring guns to church and spit on black people. Mormons are just
sing.
Super nice.
They're singing the whole time.
Yeah, and then sing. Yeah. So the guy's name is Robert Berchtold. They moved to Pocatello, Idaho in 1972, and they moved down the street from the Brobergs. That's the weirdest name. They got
they kept. I didn't focus too much on the
Brobergs.
names because they just kept their weird.
Yeah, it's some weird names. It's like I said, it almost is like a different world. It's almost like a story from a different universe. But and the Brobergs had 3 daughters, and one of them's name was Jan.
What's the dad's name? Because I want to say, out of the whole thing, I hate him. I hate him so much.
Yeah.
I fucking hate him. I don't have to speak on how much I don't like the pedophile, because obviously, he's a pedophile. But the dad, you're just like,
yeah,
I want to shoot you. I really want to.
Yeah, let's not even.
I'm like, God damn, dude.
I've got some. We'll cover that, dude. It's that was the whole time. That was my main problem. Was like her parents, the fucking Brobergs. I was like, who was the husband
with the magic hands?
Okay, slow down. All right. This is,
Salad fingers. Where's he at?
His name's Bob. Wait.
Bob.
Yeah, Bob. Oh yeah, because they did do that because his name's Robert too.
Yeah.
Robert. Okay.
Fucking old Greg.
So.
I'm old Greg.
So he's there and he's totally involved. There's a big family thing. The families are
they're really good friends.
Yeah, they're close.
Yeah.
There's a close-knit, neighbors and stuff like that. Do barbecues together, and I guess...
Which that was just the 70s, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if you really didn't like your neighbor, you were always...
It was the 70s. They was coming off free love.
Yeah, exactly. So, they were like, fuck, we have so much food and so much things at our disposal. We're ruining the fucking economy right now. Yeah. Just keep throwing house parties, goddammit.
But even, during the beginning, they said that, it was kind of, he paid more attention to the girl named, the middle child named Jan, which is which is so crazy because, that, we're 5 minutes into the documentary, and I'm like, the fact that a grown man's paying attention to your child more, like enough for you to be like, that's weird, you should have known. Like, you know what I mean? Something should have happened. Like, yeah, I wasn't even tripping about you telling him he's a pedophile.
They're like,
the story is so
they're
crazy.
like, we have 2 daughters, but our middle, that's his favorite. Like, and you're like, that's not weird that you know that?
They moved there in 1972. So later on in the year, after summertime, like August, he calls up the mother, right? And he's Robert Berchtold, the fucking like mastermind.
Yeah, the neighbor.
Fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
And he calls the mom up and he's like, hey, I'm hungry. Why don't you bring me a sandwich? Which is insane. So anyway, she's like, even as she's explaining it, she's like, I don't really know why, but I just made the sandwich.
That's the fucking, like, that should have been the name of the title. Would have been Abducted in Plain Sight. The parents don't know why.
Question mark?
Like,
right,
fucking...
yeah, right, question
It's
mark.
like, we don't really know. How many times did that come up in the thing where they were like, I don't know why.
You think you get
But-
the title by reading it, but it's like, dude, the story is so crazy. But so the wife brings the sandwich down there to him, and he like hits her with that Rico Suave and ends up laying the D down. You know what I mean? Like bangs out the wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there.
Weeks later, pulls up on the dad. He's like, hey, let's go for a drive.
Let's go
right?
for a drive.
Drive down by the lake. Starts talking about how he's sexually frustrated. Convinces the dad to jerk him off.
Yeah.
And when the dude laughed about it, and he was like, come on, dude, it ain't nothing weird.
We're not 96 Monte Carlo. All right, back the fuck up. Like,
He said it's just a release, you know? Like, look, dude, you ain't no man gonna convince me to give him a
You like,
give
it's
him a
not
hand
gay. I
job.
jack my own dick off all the time.
well, and that was the thing too, is that the dad, like, anytime that it was asked, he's like, I'm not gay.
He was like, I just fucking jerked his dick
He's
off.
like, you ever had blue balls before? I'm sympathetic. Like, I'm not gay. You know, he's like, what the
He
fuck?
was like, that was my
Yeah.
homeboy. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
He's like, obviously, you guys don't know what friendship is. like,
He said, I'm a ride or die.
which honestly, I don't know. There are a couple of people that I know on my Facebook timeline that are like friends with each other that be tagging this and stuff that I'll be like, maybe
They might jack each other
They
off.
might jack each other off. Actually, there's probably about 4 or 5 of them that might be jacking each other off, all from Tennessee. You guys might not want to go there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, true.
All right.
All Republicans too.
So him like banging out both of the parents is like a power play. You know what I mean? Because they're super religious. So like now he can like threaten to tell the police. Because, you know what I mean? At that time, it's like they describe the scene, and you can tell if you like pay attention to stuff that he's like grooming this child. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then he bangs out both the parents.
Yeah.
And like has this power play over them. Like it's fucking insane. Yeah. And he's been showing her like all kinds of attention, like taking her places. And just the thought that someone let their child leave with a grown man. It's like he has 3 daughters and he didn't bring them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. It's like, no.
Just me and her.
Yeah.
The first.
Let me go get you some ice cream. Dad, shut up.
Yeah.
Let me get you some ice cream.
like okay, yeah. Was it weird that he was like, let's go ride horses? No, it wasn't weird. You know what's fucking weird? That he left his kids.
Yeah,
He only took the neighbor's kid.
Yeah.
That was fucking weird. Like, you know what I mean?
For sure.
That was weird.
Do me a solid. Watch my kids while I take your kid.
Bro. Like the whole everything, every piece of information, I was blown away. So Berchtold gets caught like messing with some other young girl that's like not this little girl, because I don't think he had at that time like physically like was touched her or anything like that. They got exiled from the church late 1974 because he got caught messing around with another young girl. You know what I mean? And so he has to get, and this is. And the one thing to remain constant is like it seems like it wasn't that long ago, but it was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And 50 years ago, like there's a fascination now with like serial killers and like perversion and stuff like that. Like we have, like
databases and.
Shows like SVU and.
Oh
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not uncommon for you to like know about like sex crimes and stuff like that. Like back then, shit was unheard of.
Oh,
there
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
like
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It wasn't
Absolutely.
like people weren't like, oh yeah, that is, like, and that's the thing is the parents were like, we didn't even know what a pedophile was. They're like, that's never been, you know what I mean? That didn't happen. And anyway, so back then, this guy doesn't even like get in trouble. He goes to therapy, right? And since he's got this power over the parents because, you know, he like banged them both, or, you know, the dad just jerked him off, but that's still, with like, all right. Anyway, that part just
sealed the deal of the friendship. Are you really friends with someone if you haven't jerked him off? Like he's like,
I'm not friends with anybody.
I'm not.
He's like, I have no fucking friends.
Yeah.
No friends at all.
But he like,
I think I might be a lesbian.
and it's like the whole time he's like manipulating people. You know what I mean? And he's like using this power play, and he convinces them that his therapy includes him like laying in bed with this fucking 11-year-old girl. And it's like, that's not, you know what I mean? That's crazy.
Doctor said I got to get it out of my system. Like,
just the fact that
that's so fucking like it's unfucking real. The whole thing is unreal.
It's almost like I can't believe that someone could convince someone like that. But Trump convinced America
to vote for him.
You know what I mean? So I mean, anything's
How many times have I shared that picture of him hugging like a fucking 13-year-old girl and like licking her ear while sitting on a motorcycle at Epstein's Island?
But anyway, like the craziest part was like I had to like watch it the second time. Did you guys the like small part about his therapist being like a fraud and he was actually like a sick fuck in the tapes that he was listening to while he was laying in bed with that girl was like his therapist talking super sexually about him fucking like children.
No.
That was his therapy, was to lay in bed with little girls and fucking like this therapist gave him tapes of the therapist like describing these like grotesquely like what's the word, the
intense and descriptive,
grotesquely vivid and descriptive like sex scenes with children, like, you know what I mean. His therapist wasn't like a real therapist, and he was actually like a fucking crazy horrible person, you know what I mean, like,
bro.
And
There's
it's
a lot
like
of shit going on in the 70s.
Every story, I mean every aspect of the story is like mind blowing. And so he finally, you know, eventually he kidnaps this girl. And he drugs her, like ditches the car, stages it to look like they were kidnapped. Like crazy.
Bro, I'd
okay.
kill a motherfucker.
Bro, to this day, like when they interview the parents, they're just kind of like,
they're
lost. So nonchalant about it.
I think it's the fact that's like, I mean, you gotta think, man, for the last 50 years they've been living with like, they've had to like realize how it happened right
I'd
in
have
front
shot
of them.
myself, bro.
You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't imagine failing to protect my child to that extent. You
like
know what I mean?
that
and
extreme, bro.
Yeah.
And then you have to live with it. You know what I mean? Like
I couldn't.
I can only imagine their attitude is because of like what they've been through. You know what I mean? That's just
my brain would be like mush at this point. I don't know. I'd drink myself to death.
I don't think it's nonchalant. I think they just have to find a way to move on. You know what I mean? They just have to find a way to like not be like that all the time. You know what I mean? You can't, you know. So anyway, he like shows the little girl this tape of this alien voice and all this crazy stuff, and he's like drugging this girl, and the alien voice told her that like she couldn't tell anyone what happened or anything like that, or everyone would die, and by the time she turned 16 she'd have a baby with this dude, like, and like it was basically like he was drugging her, making her listen to this tape because, like I said, it's the 70s, so all this stuff is like not prevalent, you know what I mean? Like it sci-fi was like, you know, scary stuff. Twilight Zone was scary in the 70s, you know what I mean?
Oh, bro, have you...
kind of deal.
I don't remember what... I think it was earlier than the 70s, but, like, have you seen the original King Kong?
Yes.
Where it's, like, claymation almost, but people were, like, terrified of that shit when it came out.
Nightmares.
Like, yeah, for real.
So this little girl takes the bait. She's like 11.
That might have been the 50s, but...
She's like 11. She takes it hook, line, sinker. She believes that aliens are real.
Yeah.
She's an alien.
Well, she's a fucking child.
Yeah. I'm saying, like, and it's way back, you know, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's stupid to not recognize how, like, naive stuff was back then and how more, I guess, matured, like, everything is. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? The graphs that a 17-year-old would have on the world.
Oh, now, yeah.
Insane.
Already sexually active. Like, it wouldn't even, you know,
even
like...
in her age range, like an 11 and 12-year-old today.
Yeah.
Like,
They'd know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bro, you couldn't convince a 5-year-old.
My sister's 12. You couldn't do that to her.
Yeah, be like, yeah,
this
aliens
wouldn't work
are
on my
here.
sister.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
she's pretty smart. Like, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
like, I'm not gonna convince her. But anyway,
she'd be like, that motherfucker gave me LSD. Like, she'd already know exactly what it is. Like,
well, I mean, and that, yeah, I kind of forgot about that. He was drugging her too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That definitely helped. But yeah, convincing her of this huge story, and then it took her parents, what was it, like 5 days to call the FBI? It was they left on October 17th, and they didn't call the cops until October 22nd, which was insane.
dude, I'm telling you, I'm baffled by the parent. That's the only thing that, like, the entire time it was just like,
what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, this isn't even their only kid, too. It's like, you know, I mean, really, if this guy wanted to, he could be having, like, a fucking free-for-all. With all, like, it's ridiculous. Like, they have multiple children, and that whole time I was like, what the fuck?
And that was one of the things I thought about. It was kind of sad. I was like, man, if he did this, like, this easy, he was out here fucking kids, dude. Like, for sure. If he was doing it this easy, he was definitely fucking other kids. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He got caught messing with that other girl. He was definitely out here fucking kids, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, more than just one. Because if he pulled that off, dude, you know what I mean? Crazy.
Well,
like,
there's all kinds of motherfuckers out here fucking kids.
Bro, could you imagine that, though? Like, being a pedophile, and then they're like, all right, you're going to this therapy. And then you get there, and he's like, bro, me too.
You know what's great?
And you're
fucking
like,
children. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What the fuck?
Crazy. Well, I mean, that's just that. Yeah.
That there is like, I mean, honestly, it's like, it's funny that you mentioned that, like, SVU. It's like, this is like a fucking whole episode of something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, no
It's
joke.
like a goddamn Criminal Minds episode.
There was a point, probably like an hour and a half in, like, I stopped it, and I was like, I literally was crying, because it was like, they fucking failed this little girl every step of the way.
Yeah.
I mean, every chance someone had to do something, they didn't fucking do it. Like, every red flag, every opportunity, everything was just, I don't know. They just failed that little girl in every sense of the word.
She's still alive, right?
Yeah, she's still alive. It just, you know, and she seemed to have adjusted fine, but it's still like,
that's
sad
fucking
to
crazy.
ever have to go through that, man. But so he took her to Mexico, right? And he calls the parents, and he's like, I need permission to marry her. That's the only way I'm gonna bring her back to the States, and which is crazy to me that, like, and that's how I got caught. Which is crazy to me because he's like clearly a fucking either. It's hard to tell if this guy's a fucking evil genius or if everyone involved in this case
is retarded.
Is a fucking step above mental retardation. Like, it, you know, and it's because that's the thing, is it's like, this guy appears to be an evil mastermind, but he gets caught because they're like, oh yeah, we'll send you the permission slip, just tell us where you're at. Like, and he told them, like, fuck it, amateur hour, you know what I mean? Fucking A, if you're an evil, that's what I'm saying. Is
like an evil genius? Yeah, exactly. You're like, the whole town just has to be retarded. Like,
he appears to be like an evil genius, but he's coming off like fucking Dr. Evil. You know what I mean? Like, he does other stuff, and you're like, what a fucking idiot. Like, but when they're in Mexico, that's when he started sexually abusing her. But that's what you were talking about, is after they caught them and found them in Mexico, when they took her to the doctor, he was very careful not to, like, you know, and she even described it like he would just barely put it in, and just like, I mean, just sick shit, dude. He would just be careful not to hurt. I mean, just sick shit, dude. To where, like, he could get off and then be like, you know, and, you know, he convinced her not to say anything. So they can't prove it. She's not saying nothing. Dude, I mean, it's insane.
And that was like a thing at the time, because again, like, they just didn't know even really what they were talking about. There was like a thing that I read where the parents were kind of like, well, like, he didn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't all the way, so. And it's like, dude, you're fucking, like, are you out of your fucking mind?
And the whole time that all this is going on, like, they're aware of what's happening, they're not keeping this guy away from their daughter. Like,
oh, yeah, no.
Even and then it's like, at the same time, the thing that I'm not even, like, accounting for is that they already know what's up because he's been caught fucking children.
Yeah.
That's why he's laying in the bed with your daughter, because of his therapy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this whole story is like I said, we can't even capture the craziness of the whole essence, dude. Like, oh my God. If you're listening to this and you haven't watched it, you need to stop and watch the things. It'll blow your fucking mind.
Yeah. Get
Like,
a drink first.
Yeah. You're going to need some, yeah, for sure. Okay, oh, yeah. So, whenever he comes back, like, they arrest him and shit, right? And then he gets out on bail, which is crazy.
Super cheap, too.
Insane.
Like,
Yeah, cheap bail. He gets out on bail, and his wife blackmailed the family into dropping the charges and saying it was a misunderstanding because he banged both the parents out. So the wife was like, I'm going to expose you.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, insane. Like, every turn is insane. So she blackmails the Bloombergs, right, to get her husband off. And they signed the fucking papers. Instead of being like, we fucked up, we had sex with someone, like,
Yeah.
dude, you know what I mean? They
Sacrificed their daughter for their own sake.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, they just failed this little girl at every step of the way.
And it's because now everybody knows anyways, and that's what's like so frustrating about it is that they wouldn't come out because they were like, he's gonna tell us, and now everyone fucking knows about it.
And I'm still going down my list here of fucking points. The even crazier thing, the mother of the little girl keeps banging the dude after he gets out. After she signs the paper and like what's called
Oh yeah, they
started
keep
a
having the affair.
full-blown affair.
Yeah.
Like they fucked once, but then they started a full-blown affair.
Mm-hmm.
Like and it's manipulation, and I guarantee it was to keep control of like, dude, in that 1976, Bob Broberg files for divorce. He filed for divorce, and I think that was because he was finally like put his foot down and was like, we got to do something. Oh my God! And then this guy in 1976, Birchfield, he buys a family fun center in Wyoming, and like leaves town because they like run him off. So he buys like the most pedophile ass
Yeah,
business.
he's like,
You know what I mean? Like, and that's what's crazy. It's like nowadays, could you imagine if you were a registered, like, because like I said, he probably wasn't even a registered sex offender.
No.
I don't even think they had that back
No.
then. You know what I mean? Could you imagine today as a registered sex offender if you tried to buy a fucking like arcade or something like that?
bro.
yeah.
Gee, they would, bruh, what the fuck? You know what I mean? They would shut that down. And then the parents sent the little girl to work at the family fun center over the summer.
I don't even remember this part.
Literally just the worst parents ever.
Jesus fucking
Yeah.
Like,
Christ.
literally
should
just
not
the
have
worst
that
parents
kid
ever,
ever.
dude. I mean, like, they're like, well, she would just want her to go, and she was just always upset and just always wanted to go, so we had to let her go. Like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
Could have beat the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Like, that's an option, too. Like,
Oh my God, dude.
I mean, it just makes you, like, reevaluate. It's just like, oh, my God. Like, how could you... I don't
It's
know.
fucking sick.
I mean, it is, man, and it's in the sense of like it could have been stopped so easy. I mean, there's just multiple opportunities for it to be stopped, and nobody did anything to help this little girl.
It's the parents' fault.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Like, and it's hard to just outright be like, oh, it's the parents' fault, but it
But
really,
it is.
really is.
No, it
Like,
is.
It is.
100%.
I mean, like, not to take away the fact that
He's a
guy is a
pedophile.
That's a
pedophile.
fucking monster.
And he's
Yeah,
a
that guy's
monster, like, absolutely.
They
but,
could've
like,
saved
you know what I
the
mean?
girl.
It's literally the difference of, like, somebody coming and taking your kid and then being like, go over there, man.
It's like, because, like,
Take my fucking kid. Like, that's basically what they did.
at one point they make it such a dramatic scene, but it's like if someone was like, hey, someone raped your kid, and if you don't drop the charges, they're gonna expose you cheated. I'd be like,
Bet. I'm gonna go kill this
the
guy
fuck?
right now. Yeah, I'm on my way.
how is that
yeah.
even a fucking how do you even, I mean, bro, damn my reputation. I
Yeah,
don't give a
expose me.
shit
I'm
what
about
no
to go to prison for murder.
Yeah,
like,
I don't care what
expose me. Go for it, bro.
Nobody thinks about me. You know what I mean?
Fuck all that.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it is. Some people don't.
That's what's yeah. Oh my God. You're like, I'm about to fucking go to prison for murder. I really don't care if they're about to fucking out me on adultery. Like,
August of '76, they put the little girl in a private school, I say little. I think she's probably 14 at this time.
Yeah.
13, 14, 13, yeah, something like that. So she stayed away she was down there for 2 weeks with a guy. She like lived with him in his trailer. Like, and that's what I mean. I just can't get over it. How that even happens. You know what I mean? And anyway, they sent her
Because it's the parents.
They sent her to a private school and she disappears, and that's when he's calling the house crying all that time, talking to the mother, just feeding her.
Yeah.
What's clearly bullshit. Anyone with any kind of intelligence could tell everything he was spitting was bullshit. That kid was with him the entire fucking time. You know what I mean? Just the gumption to call and talk for hours on the phone.
Yeah.
Insane. And he's saying that this little 13-year-old girl is hitchhiking across the country, just making it, just living her best life, and he has no idea where she's at. I'm like, man, it's the sickest thing you've ever seen. He goes back to jail for 10 days for a parole violation, which is insane, because if you have a parole violation in 2020,
yeah,
you're going back for like 10 years, which is not 10 days, which is insane.
Well, the country's in a bigger deficit now. They need us to pay more money.
Free labor.
Yeah,
Slave,
exactly.
modern day slavery.
Because the parents.
Because America's the greatest. Sorry, go ahead. I had
By
to
the
get in
time,
there.
so he received 45 days in jail total. Oh no! Okay, no. So at the court hearing for the 1974 thing where he kidnapped her and took her to Mexico, since they signed that paper, he got sentenced to 45 days in jail and did 10.
He did 10.
Kidnap and rape of a little girl. Yep.
10 days in jail, man.
November 12th, 1976, he's detained by the FBI. They used a tap on the phone, you know what I mean, to try to find the little girl. And that's more, like, there's, tons. That's what I was talking about, all the bullshit, all the tons of calls and stuff. So the dad of the little girl, his fucking business burnt down and shit like that. And
Yeah.
they said it was definitely
Him.
oh boy, how you gonna fuck his daughter and burn his business down? That's insane. Like, the story is just like the most outlandish shit ever. He got acquitted of charges due to insanity. Ended up in a mental hospital. You know what I mean? And finally, 1978, this bitch realizes that aliens are fucking real. And she tells her parents about all this crazy shit. Because this whole time, she's keeping these secrets and not telling anyone. Yeah. And, she's meeting with them in secret. Like, fucking this. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, all the stuff that happens. Finally, she realizes aliens aren't real and tells her parents. And that's pretty much the end of it. You know what I mean? That's
And he didn't really do anything after that, did they?
Oh, no, he's lying. I could say he what was it? He was convicted of a crime due to insanity, and he's in a mental institution. Yeah. And he got, I think, he got out, and there was something I saw that happened afterward. But it says here she became an actor. She's married now. She was Nurse Louise on Everwood. Oh, yeah, she wrote a book about him. That's what it was. And then he assaulted a security guard in 2004 because she was speaking on her book, and he showed up to, like, protest the book. To say it was a lie. It was a lie.
Yeah. Jesus
And that's
Christ.
when he went to jail for a grip. So November 11th, 2005, after he got convicted and found guilty of assault on a police officer, he killed himself.
Oh, good. All right, there you go.
Man. It's a happy ending. I
Good.
mean, she gets married, she becomes an actor, has a child, has a happy life.
He kills himself.
He dies. He kills himself. Or he kills himself. He finally gets arrested, convicted, kills himself. Oh, do a lot of editing on that.
Some random cop got punched. That's good. Like,
Yay.
like a whole,
Police, come straight. Big cab.
Fuck.
But
There's no such thing as a blue life.
the one thing I do want to cover is Gaethje Khabib,
Ooh.
October 24th.
Yeah.
Predictions right now.
Oh,
Khabib.
Second round. TKO from the ground and pound.
You said the second round TKO?
Ground and pound, yeah. Khabib.
I'd like to see it go a little bit longer. I mean,
I don't know. It might be a full round fight. It might be
I
a submission.
I say Khabib reluctantly because
I like
the way
Gaethje.
Gaethje was throwing him hands at Ferguson, I was not ready for that.
Mm.
I know he's a phenomenal athlete. I've seen him do that same thing, but it's like when you do that and it looks cool, it's like it's great. But it's like
yeah.
Tony Ferguson's a whole different animal. You know what I mean? When you do that to Tony Ferguson, man, that's a big deal.
Catch you off the
Yeah,
guard, man. Yeah.
But
I've tried to explain to people, I'm like, his nickname is the fucking boogeyman.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
if he,
yeah, exactly. Like they have that in every fucking language, dude.
Yeah.
if
he's so crazy they had to say it in Spanish.
if he does any damage to Khabib's gonna take him to the ground. And he's gonna fucking maul him.
Absolutely.
yeah,
He's like a fucking bear, man.
on the ground.
He's just a big Russian bear.
What do you feel about Izzy and Paulo?
That was my ex-wife. I think Izzy just got too much rhythm. When when Adesanya dodges a punch, like sidesteps a punch, it looks like he knew it was coming before you knew you were throwing it. And he's
Done that hitchback.
You know what I mean? He's got like rhythm when he fights. He's like Anderson Silva, just more explosive. You know what I mean? Like insane. I mean, and you could justify that by the actual fight with Anderson Silva. You know what I mean? Like that would have been the greatest prime fight in history. You know what I mean? If you could catch those two in the prime, they have the same body type, they're like the same height. Seeing him in the ring was fucking crazy.
Bro, has that?
I wish that would have been a 5-round fight.
Is that fucking Mike Tyson fight real? Who is it? Mike Tyson.
That is confirmed. Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah, Roy Jones Jr.
My thing is like, is Tyson coming down from heavyweight or is
they were nowhere near?
It's confirmed.
Like a middleweight.
I mean,
he's like a cruiserweight?
No, he's like a middleweight, isn't he? Like 180, 170.
Well, see, I could be wrong because boxing weights are fucking.
They'll probably
just figured out.
They'll probably fight at like a
Yeah.
catch weight around 205 or 200 or something.
that I
That's
want
what
to
I'm
see,
saying.
bro.
Tyson has to come down. There's no fucking way Royce Jones Jr. is fighting that first.
Yeah.
I'll call him Royce. Roy Jones Jr. There's no way he's fighting that heavyweight. There's no. I was with the.
Mike's a big boy.
I was with the barehanded.
Which I haven't really seen him recently. I don't know what he's looking like recently, but
I've seen workout videos of him hitting the mitts, and boy,
I think I actually did see that. Yeah, no, for sure.
He looked
Yeah,
good.
no, absolutely. Like I don't care if that motherfucker was 70-year-old.
Oh, he was
I
like,
still wouldn't want to take a punch from him.
I was like, I go to sleep.
It's just cool though, because like if you got to think about what two fighters have like the best two highlight videos in the fucking history of ever, it's Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Like their highlight reels are just the greatest of all.
It's
like,
just an exhibition match. I don't think
I-
they're gonna really get there and try to knock the fuck out of each other. I think it's gonna be a little fight.
Jones Jr. was like the first boxer I ever remember like my mouth dropping and being like,
Yeah,
damn,
yeah.
like he's talented, man. And he was like Liddell, man. He had it. He was the man, and one day he just lost that chin. You know what I mean? What was he like? He was like 55-1, right? Like,
Well-
and then he got knocked out.
I
and
mean, bro, you
started
got to
losing.
think about. I mean, it's the same thing as UFC, bro. You have to think about what they fucking put themselves through.
Oh,
man.
yeah,
I mean, you
yeah.
take one wrong hit, and that's it. That's all she wrote, bro.
And you know, boxers, I feel like they have longer careers because you know they don't
Yeah.
have to. They don't have to put their body through as much.
Not as
Boxing-
much, but still. I mean, back then when it was like when that was the sport of kings. I mean, they were still fighting a lot. You know what I mean? They had a lot of.
Boxing in itself is a mental striking game. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? MMA is mental. I quoted Michael Bisping last night. It's MMA is 80% mental, 10% physical, 10% training. You know what I mean? You got to be smart, and it's so mentally exhausting. You know, in the MMA fight because you got, you know, it's literally anything. It was like when you're boxing. Dude, all you gotta worry about is don't let him hit you. Don't let him hit you.
Don't
and
drop
you-
those hands.
You hit him, don't let him hit you. You know what I mean? It's a mental striking game, and it's one. I don't want to say it's one dimensional because you can do it a bunch of ways, but boxing is like a one horse, you know, kind of show. So I feel like they have longer careers in that sense. That's what I'm saying. Like Floyd was like 50-0, and like I said, Roy Jones. Well, when he started losing consecutively, I think he was like. Maybe not 55-1, but he was close. I know he's got more than 50 wins.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
but I think it was something fucking insane, like 55-1 when he started losing. Like, God, I'm gonna want to like pull up some highlights and like watch
Yeah.
later because like I'm just thinking about all this stuff.
Can't be touched, can't be.
Stipe, DC3.
DC.
I'm good DC3.
I want DC to win.
I want Stipe to win. Yeah, but DC's won
I
the
said
first
that as
two.
one.
No, did Stipe win one?
Oh, it's
DC's
1-1.
It's 1-1.
Stipe beat him. He beat Stipe for the title after he lost to John Jones. No. He won the title after Jones vacated, and then he beat Stipe to become the double champ. And then he lost to Stipe, and that's why Stipe holds it now. And he retired and did the broadcasting thing. And then now he's coming back. And I know that because it's total bullshit. Francis Ngannou's getting sidestepped a fucking again and not getting a title shot when he clearly fucking deserves it. All the respect to Daniel Cormier in the fucking world. If you retired and gave up and lost your title, sit the fuck down. Like, it's Francis Ngannou's turn. And he hasn't even fought Francis. And he's real confident about
Who did he
that.
fight last?
I don't think that would be a fight. Oh, Francis Ngannou?
Yeah.
Rosacek. That was that guy he knocked out in 8
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
That guy was like, I'm going to knock him out.
Yeah.
They were like, Francis, when did you know you were going to win the fight? And they were like, when he posted on Twitter and was talking that shit. Yeah. He was like, oh, as soon as he challenged me, knew it was a game over. Like,
He said he's good. He needs to stick with it, but he's not ready.
He's not ready.
I think it's bullshit how DC can fucking pick. Like I said, all the respect, he's probably the greatest heavyweight of all time. But one of the greatest fighters. He's definitely one of the greatest fighters of all time. But to retire, lose your belt, and then to just be able to be like, oh, I'm gonna come back and fight
Hey,
Steve.
did you watch the UFC Fight Night that was on last Saturday?
Oh, Darren Till versus
Robert Whitaker.
Dude,
Good fight.
Dude,
Good fight.
I am excited to see Darren Till at 185, dude. At
He lost though, but he did really good.
Yeah, dude, amazing. Like,
I want to see Robert Whitaker get a
that's what I'm saying.
rematch.
You
with
gotta
Adesanya.
think, like, everyone's been everyone, like, I feel like Robert Whitaker is one of the most underrated fucking fighters ever.
Oh yeah, no, he's
Because everyone's always like, oh, it's Robert Whitaker. I'm like, he's an animal.
He was a world
he's an
champion.
animal.
He's the number
Yeah.
15 ranked pound per pound fighter. He's probably went up now that he won.
You said 15?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, he was
He's the
ranked
number one contender in middleweight because
Yeah,
he lost. He was the champion.
Yeah.
That's who Adesanya. Well, he was the champion. Then he vacated it, so they did an interim championship, and Adesanya won the interim championship. And then whenever Robert Whitaker came back, he fought Adesanya and lost. But he's the number one ranked contender in middleweight. He'll probably fight the winner if Adesanya defends against Paulo Costa. Then Robert Whitaker should get a rematch.
Yeah, man.
Should. And I feel like if Darren Till wins a couple more fights, he'll get a try. If he would have won against Robert Whitaker, I think he would gotten next.
Dude.
But now I don't know.
The only thing stopping Darren Till from getting a fight is that anytime he's fought anyone in the top 5, he's not lost. Every time he's fought someone in the top 5, fucking phenomenal fight. Phenomenal. Great fight. He's a great fighter. I think he looks 100% better at 185. If you look at him at 185 compared to like the Masvidal fight, he's got more energy. He's bigger. He's bouncing around. You know what I mean? And he's not the biggest welterweight with no energy anymore. He's a good sized middleweight. You know what I mean? And I think he looks amazing. I think he looks. The future's bright for that kid, man. I think he got it. He figured it out young. I think he's gonna do pretty good. Who did he beat? Didn't he beat Gaslam recently? Too?
Yeah, he beat Gaslam.
He beat Kevin Gaslam last, which is no small feat because Israel Adesanya couldn't even put him away. You know
They
what I
went
mean?
5 rounds.
Yeah, they went 5 rounds. He couldn't. It's hard to beat that guy. And who's the only person he's lost to? He just lost to Whitaker, but
He lost to
before that he
Masvidal.
only lost to like Masvidal.
He got knocked out by Masvidal.
He was 17-1. The kid's 19-2. He's like 19-2.
Yeah, he's 27. He's not.
He's a young kid, man. I said I think him and Adesanya have a phenomenal fight in a year. I think they have a phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think Darren Till needs to pick. He needs to pick his fights right. You know what I mean?
He needs another good. He needs to get a rebound fight because he's probably gonna. He was at number 6. So he'll probably drop to like 7 or 8 at least. I don't think he'll drop out of the top 10 because Robert Whitaker was the number 1 contender and they fought good fight.
My favorite part is how he's like totally like Southy British, and like he sounds way better than Michael Bisping. Like Michael Bisping's like definitely has that British accent, but when Darren Till talks, he's like, "I'm gonna knock you the fuck out,
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
my guy, I'm gonna knock you out." And it's like, oh man. What was the other fight on that card? Dude. So am I the only one that thinks Max Holloway definitely won that fucking fight against
Yeah, I
Andre
think he
Arlovsky?
did
I
too.
didn't see it.
I
Or
think
not
he did.
Andre Arlovsky, Volkanovski?
Volkanovski.
Yeah.
But no, he did.
Definitely 100%. I had the
They
fight.
robbed him.
I had the
Bless.
fight 3-2. You could have argued 4-1. Like,
They really count those fourth and fifth rounds hard.
dude.
I think Max lost the fifth round, but he dominated the second and third, no doubt. I think he won the first one, and the fourth. He lost the fifth round, and the fourth one's kind of iffy, and he won the first three, no doubt.
Man, he's first class all the way though. People were trashing the referee on Twitter and like the
Max
athletic commission, and he was like, "Hey man, I appreciate the love. That ain't how we do it." You know what I mean? He was like, "I'm not with that. That's not how we do it. I'm just gonna get back in there and train again. You know, live to fight another day." I was like, "That's classy,"
Mm-hmm.
because I'd have been like, "Get him."
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I'd have been on Twitter like, "You guys see the motherfucker?" Like, I'd have been sending.
You're
him
making like
notes.
proxy, like
Yeah.
oh, their accounts. You're like, yeah, man, fuck this guy.
in the comments, hyping up my own fans.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like how Kevin Durant be having burner accounts for Twitter, and he be arguing with fans.
Oh my god, dude! Yeah, that shit was so fucking hilarious. No, back to Stipe DP. I think DC's got a good chance, but I think Stipe fucking
I think Stipe wins, and then he gets knocked out by Ngannou.
dude. Stipe is one of those guys that's like a phenomenal fighter. You just don't ever like see anything really about him because he's like soft spoken. Man, he's a good fighter. Like I said, and it's so hard because now it's like right now we have a lot of guys in the game that, you know what I mean, in their respective weight divisions could be one like him and DC, bro. You could argue either one of them is the greatest heavyweight of all time.
Bro, I seen
You
the
know what I
chart,
mean? Like,
and
you
right now
literally
the combined win record for all the champions of all the men's weight divisions
like
is
134 and
is-
7.
yeah, it's as best as it's ever been.
134. to
Only
7.
two fighters have more than one loss, and there's 3 undefeated fighters.
Yeah. And one of those is the female fighter, and she lost to Jessica Andrade and Thug Namajunas. You know what I mean? Like she lost to and like I'm saying, like all these guys aren't losing to just no punks, man.
No.
They're losing to the best of the best. Like, yeah, I did see that. That was crazy. That was a heck of a fight night, man. And wasn't there 3? No, it was the pay-per-view. UFC 4. I've already paid for it. We're gonna have the tourney.
Bet.
Doing the tourney. Absolutely. I'm done. I'm ready to get something to eat and go to bed.
Me
I
too.
like 48 minutes.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys.
Mhm.
Much love.
Love!
You guys be safe.